Hi, hello, and welcome to this edition of nicheBrains Expert Review of the Week. I'm John Vincent, co-founder of nicheBrains and the host for this session. Just a quick brief about nicheBrains. nicheBrains is a digital transformation platform which connects millions of SMEs with the best of brains across the globe to adopt digital transformation to help them grow their business exponentially, thus democratizing digital transformation. In today's session, we have Mr. Charan Kamal, a digital strategist in product management and business process management, and also an expert on the nicheBrains platform. Welcome to the session, Mr. Charan.
Good afternoon, Mr. John.
Yeah, just a quick brief on Mr. Charan. So Charan is an independent expert consultant on digital transformation. He's been helping businesses with scaling up on their digital strategies, business model innovations, streamlining operations with focus on bottom lines. As part of his corporate career, he has served multiple global customers across different geographies from the US, European Union, Middle East, and India in different segments ranging from healthcare, pharma, and life sciences, CRM, manufacturing, hospitality, B2B, omni-channels. He's an entrepreneur by himself too, and has earlier operated into IT digital transformation for hospitals and pharma as well. So before I go more, let's hear it from Mr. Charan himself. Charan, if you can give us a quick background about yourself, your introduction, your journey on how you became an independent consultant, the industries you have worked with, the companies, the positions you have held and worked on, the domains and regions. So it'll be great to hear from you, Mr. Charan.
Sure. Thank you, John. Just without that, I am a digital transformation consultant who have been helping out the business transform and align their operations for customer service, manufacturing, and different facets of the business to operate based on the knowledge. When I say the based on the knowledge, it is based on the facts and data that is available. But basically, I am a master's in business management. However, with my deep interest into technology, right from the beginning, I have been into a software corporate. I have been about more than a decade and a half into software corporate with different roles, right from a developer to an architect to a project manager, product manager. There are a lot of roles that I have been playing out for more than a decade and a half, and with the different segments of customers, healthcare, Apollo Hospitals, Baxter, Aspetar, lot of large hospitals which I have made, with pharma companies, with a lot of hospitalities, BFSI like Barclays. So there's a lot of exposure in terms of different customers that have been managed for different engagements. And this not just involved from a project perspective, but the complete outsourced managed services. And we have also developed two of the products for analytics space. About 4 products have been released onto the customers in my company. So about 3 years back, I have set up my own company, which was primarily focusing on the equipment service, maintenance, equipment analytics, equipment automation kind of things. But we have, though this particular product is applicable to every segment of the business, we have primarily targeted for healthcare and pharma just to ensure that we focus on a specific segment of customer acquisition.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So this has been we have sold off the product later, and during this time when I'm going with the customer acquisition for different customers, I have actually encountered a lot of customers who are actually interested in our product suite because it helps them as well. So what happened here is that after we have sold off the product which we have built, I have got a query from some couple of customers from the marketing backlog, where they started asking us, we want to take the product, can you help us in a few of the things in managing their transformations of the equipment, because these are basically OEM and manufacturers. So that is where I started getting into the consulting space, helping them transform their operations, helping transform their manufacturing, and their customer service, customer executions, and all other things. This is where a quick background about myself.
All right. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the brief, Mr. Charan. Charan, can you describe any specific customer experience in digital transformation detail that you have done, the challenges that you have faced,
Yeah.
and finally the value that you have created for the customer? Probably the industry, the size. If you can give us a little bit, a brief on that specific customer experience, it'll be wonderful.
Sure, definitely. I have one of the customers who are into the manufacturing concern. They have a very innovative product, and their customer segment is both for the consumers and
Okay.
also for the business.
All right.
But from sales perspective, they have very good sales. They are selling it to the consumers, and they are giving their equipment as a service, which means that it is a regular subscription, monthly subscription, just like our mobile bills or the cable bills or other things. So it is equipment as a service. So they have specifically two major concerns.
Okay.
One, their LTV is low. They have very good sales.
Okay.
They have very good sales, but the LTV is low. LTV means what we call as the repeated money that we get it from the customer. It is not just when we look at the customer life cycle. It is the amount over the next 4 years or 5 years that actually gives what is the revenue that we are going to gain from the customer. It's not just what we sell it or from first month or something like that. So
Right.
their LTV is less. They have 400 plus installations as a service.
All right.
And they have about 18,000 rupees per month. That is
Okay.
approximately about $250 per month as their monthly revenue for each
Okay.
customer. And the second major problem which they have is their working capital management. There's a lot of things going up and down in the working capital management, and every time at the end of every 45 days or 60 days, they see compressions in availability of the cash flow in their working capital management.
Okay.
So their major concern is how can we realign things so that these major two problems get resolved.
Okay.
So I have spoken to a few of their customers to
Mhm.
understand what is happening, why it is happening, and all other things. There have been three primarily root causes that have been identified.
Okay.
Wherever the equipments have been installed at the customers,
Okay.
there is a contract between the manufacturer and the customer. There are specific SLAs, and these SLAs are getting violated. And because the SLAs are getting violated, customers is saying that I don't want to pay you. I want to pay you less because there is a sort of inefficiency or other things.
Right.
The second major problem that has been identified is much of these the customers are corporates,
Okay.
and corporates tends to pay based on their payment cycle, but not based on the billing cycle.
Right.
Some corporates pay every month 5th. Some corporates pay every month 10th. Some corporates pay every month 15th. This is based on the payout vendor payout cycle which they have.
Right. Okay.
Right. So, the challenge is that the account receivables is going red, which means that they are unnecessarily showing the customer is not paying, even though that is not the intent of the customer.
Right.
Right. And the third most important thing is, as they have global deployments, both in 90% of their customers are in India and 10% of their in the Middle East. They have a lot many vendor partners. So
Okay.
these vendor partners goes to the location, they service the equipment based on the schedule of the equipment, they change the spare parts, and whenever additional things have to happen, they collect the money from the customers.
Okay.
And when the collections of money happens, they remit back to the company maybe after 20 days, some remit after 35 days, some remit after 45 days.
Okay.
So the customer is paying, but the money has not hit
The
the
the bank
the
of
wallet.
probably. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So these are the three major problems that have been identified. So
Right.
what we have done is here. That's it. This particular company is a young company, about 16 to 18 months of their operations.
Okay.
Very passionate management, and they have a very high tendency towards customer service. When we
Right.
start looking at the first problem, that is the SLAs, what we found is that probably that is not the case, but there is no way to convince the customers, because ultimately the equipment is on the ground
Okay.
at the customer location.
Right.
So what we have done is we have implemented an IoT capability into the equipment
Oh, okay.
for all the parameters, right? So the data is visible to the customer from a dashboard. The same data is visible to the, we have set up a, what we call as a data center. We have the common dashboard, and it will continuously stream the data, and the data is going to be seen here. So there are no violations. If there is any violations, right? We get the signal, we get the alerts, and we know what is the sort of corrective things that have to happen.
Right.
So this has helped in having the data between them, between the customer and things.
Right.
Right. And when you have the truth of data, if there is sort of a disagreement, possibly there might be some customers who come out with the disagreements or raising the SLA concerns or other things. But today you have the data. When you have the data, you have a better platform to negotiate, to understand, to discuss and convince the customer.
Absolutely.
Right. So this has in fact reduced the complaints of the customers by 96% in a span of 2.5 months.
Excellent.
Okay. And if you look at the second problem is the payments, the vendor payments that the corporates will do.
Right.
Here, what is the most important thing here is not the customer's ability to pay or the customer's willingness to default. That is not the case, but it is the customer behavior. Right? When we start looking at the digital transformation, customer behavior and the customer life cycle is extremely important. Right. So when we know that a particular customer has a vendor payment cycle of, for example, 5th of every month,
right,
there is no point in us to generate an invoice 15 days before and telling him to pay in 1 week.
Absolutely. Right. Doesn't make sense.
Right. So there are a lot of things that have been changed operationally and into the systems when we have deployed the systems. These have been aligned more to the customer behavior. So the invoice has been generated properly on time so that it aligns to the outcome of the payments of the customers. So this not only helps the customers, it will also help the finance, the customer service people to unnecessarily chase the people and say that, hey boss, I have my invoice has been done, you have still not paid it. Right. So these sort of friction points and other things have been controlled, and the predictability of the money that has to be received is in place. And the third most important thing is the partner outsourcing. These have been in Excel sheets. These have been in Excel sheets, and a lot of emails will circulate between the partners and the customer service people at the company. There is no control. There is no guarantee that the partner has really gone to the customer and he has done the service at the customer side. These guys will just upload the ticket and say that the task has been done, but there is no truth of data. There is no guarantee of it. So what we have done is that the complete maintenance cycle has been automated. The complete contract, the maintenance cycle, everything has been automated in such a way that there will be predictability of the task that has to be done. For example, next 3 days, what the customers we have to go, next 1 week, what the customers we have to go, what we have to do. So this sort of things have give out a what do you call as a streamlined process between the manufacturer, between the customer, and also to the partners. So and you remember the payments. The customer take the cash and it will be debited back over 30-35 days. But today they pay it from an app directly. That means from 21 days it was reduced to one day. So this is the sort of value that has been given from a digital transformation perspective.
Great. So what industry is this that you are referring to, Charan?
This is the manufacturing industry. They manufacture equipments.
Okay. How big is the size? What is the size of this organization?
This is a 9 crore company.
All right. Okay. And with respect to the so the solution, so you look, one is the you said the IoT is the first part you did, an IoT solution first to streamline the SLAs. So that is something that you did. And the second, what are the other two solutions that you basically had done? Just solutions alone.
Yeah, IoT visualizations, CRM, financials. There is a mobile app. Everything coming into one single spectrum. It is like They have only Tally,
All right.
and everything is in Excel sheet and Google Sheets.
Okay, great.
So
So
the entire spectrum has come into single umbrella.
Absolutely. So you brought all of these into, probably you brought them online and brought it into a single umbrella such that they had a clear visibility across the entire, the sales cycle as well, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. It includes creating their own IT department. They don't have an IT department.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. Charan, just going ahead,
Yeah.
what do you think is the impact of digital transformation, specific to your industry, the healthcare, the manufacturing, the hospitality, or the B2B, especially in the domains that you're talking about, product management or business process management, innovation in the coming years. So how do you see that?
Profound, extremely profound. See, if you start looking at the last 5, 6 years, it is
Right.
very clear that things have been moving online. Things have been moving digital, and unfortunately we had COVID, but COVID has in fact accelerated the things. Today you don't have time to think what I have to do next year. The
Right.
pandemic is forcing you to change your business models, to take decisions immediately and move the things now, right now. There is no chance, no, there is no time for you, right?
Right.
So today, the digital situation is in such a way that take decisions right now, go to there, and the most important thing is, right, innovation. Today, the people are more digitally aware. A few examples, like earlier we used to have clipboards, earlier we used to have meetings, board meetings, and all other things. We look at the manufacturing sector, we have push buttons to switch on and off the equipment around and all other things. But today we have automated signals. When some equipment goes down, we get alerts, we get SMS. Where we have a lot of things from the marketplaces where you find that new customers, the customer acquisition cost will be different. We have right, so a lot of things have changed. And today, if you see, you can't find a person without a smartphone, including your staff or including your customers.
Right.
And these people are digitally aware. But what is not there, I think, is that though each one of us are digitally aware, though we know that the impact that happens there is very high,
Mm-hmm.
frankly, we don't know what to do. Which means that when I say we don't know, it's the business. They don't know what to do, or they don't know how to execute it.
Right. That's true.
Right? So I will tell you the best example of my mother. My mother, she's a doctor. She's a homeopath. She's one of the most senior-most homeopaths in the city. And she started looking at the patients on a call. They are
Right.
having a Skype call, and then she calls Dunzo, and she packs the medicines, and the Dunzo is going to deliver it to the customers,
Right.
to the patients. So she's 75, and she is digitally enabled because it is her passion to do it out. So if we have the vision, it makes up the changes into the behavior and other things.
Definitely. Right. Right.
Yeah.
You actually made the point here, Charan, because obviously it's no more a choice. People industries are changing, and you need to adapt to the changing demands of your customer as well. So like how you pointed out with your mother's case, she had the passion that she has to take it across. So she immediately moved to a digital medium, even at this age, what you're talking about, to immediately think that the customer receives it in whichever way she can. So that's the change that is coming across in industries.
Yeah, the most important thing you see, she calls Dunzo to deliver it, which means that there are different kinds of service providers,
Right. Perfect.
right? So the ecosystem, you need to understand the ecosystem.
Correct.
Today, everything is not in a single place. Like
Right.
like nicheBrains, there are a lot of consultants who have a lot of many experts and they will get to guide different industries.
Right.
Right. So today we have different options. There are a lot many options.
Right. That's
You
true.
only need to understand how to pick it up, align it to your vision. The day you have the vision, everything falls in place.
Yeah, and that's where we have the consultants to help
Absolutely.
the companies through. Right.
Absolutely.
So also, you've told about, how they should, you've seen the impact as well. But how do you think that SMEs need to prepare themselves for this transformation?
Okay, so say the transformations, whatever we think about the transformations, we discuss about the transformations, those are, there are no shortcuts for it.
Right.
It includes pain, it includes time, it includes a transformation. When I say transformation is not, there's a lot of difference between a transformation and a change.
Right.
Change means we have done a mistake. Okay, so we have done we have taken a few steps so that the mistake is not repeated. But transformation is the whole mindset is changed.
Absolutely.
The whole process is changed. Right?
Right.
And today transformations are purely value driven.
Right.
And when you say value driven, you see that there are thousands of companies which are there who value their profits.
Perfect.
Right? So they put one value in the front, like I do to serve the customers, probably is one of the examples. But the underground parameters are different. The underground parameters is the profitability. Underground parameters is the efficiency.
Absolutely.
Right? So it is very important to understand the right kind of things to be in place. For me, there are 5 core values of transformation that will be required. One is transparency,
Right.
authenticity, gaining the expertise, humility, and faith-based. These are the 5 factors that are extremely important.
Right.
If you want to really transform.
Absolutely. So yeah.
Okay. And few of the things that really happens is that when you start thinking about transformation, you go there to the market, speak to different people, speak to experts, speak to some of your friends, cousins, to your networks and other things, and everyone starts giving you opinions. So it is very important to understand and to these opinions and filter out what is actually required.
Right.
Second thing, the empirical data. When we start looking into the stuff, maybe a customer service guy or a production guy or a sales guy or a finance guy, right? Most of the times they speak from a gut feeling. What is the gut feeling is different and what my mind says is different. But what is more important is what the empirical data is going to say. The fact-based empirical data. So which means that our mindset has to change to the fact-based empirical data-based execution so that our emotions are subsidized. We have to work based on the data, not based on the emotions or based on the gut feeling.
Right.
Right?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see, how we basically, look at how SMEs need to, prepare,
Yeah.
looking at going out to the environment, looking at data. So looking at various factors and, look how they have to plan their transformation. Right.
Yeah.
You made some key points there, Charan.
Yeah.
So moving on, what is your motivation to actually become a freelance, or an independent consultant, I would say?
Sure. So as I told you earlier that I had my own company, and then we have sold off the product that we have built. During that time, I have connected to one of the water purifier based companies. It's one of the top water purifier based companies in India. We have a set of contract with them and the things. I was speaking to the business development head of this particular company when he came to Hyderabad. And when the discussion is happening, right? So even though this particular company is 300 crore plus company.
Okay.
Okay. And even having so much of turnover and significant investments into the technology, other things. When it comes to the customer service perspective, their customer service parameters are always high.
Okay.
And the most important thing is, customer doesn't even know whether he is rightly empowered or not. When I say the empowered or not, we have seen an example earlier. The SLAs are getting impacted, but the reality is SLAs are not getting impacted. The data is not there.
Right.
It is the same thing which is happening for this particular company. So even though I think they have a large customer service network, large manufacturing, large distribution network. When you look at the customer side, customer doesn't know how to approach them.
Yeah.
So this is one very single use case which have started making me think about it. And the second most important thing that has really made me step into the consulting is one of my ex-colleagues. He has set up his own company which actually prepares what do you call it, spice powders, about 28 varieties of spice powders. He has set
Right.
up a company in the industrial zone of Hyderabad. And then this guy doesn't have any idea of how to innovate it, or because his domain is into food and beverages.
Okay.
So he doesn't know it out. And even so, he has bought up a techie guy who has some exposure to the corporate and make it up. But everything that has happened has happened from a technology perspective. It didn't happen
Okay.
from a business perspective. It is
Right.
like what CRM we have to buy, what financial services for we have to buy. No, you can't buy a product. You have to buy something that is aligned to the business.
Right.
Right. So these two incidents have motivated me to go because these. I thought that it is a time for me to really share my experience, transparently connecting with many customers during my entire career, and giving the right kind of advice and right kind of help in executing their vision. So that is what actually motivated me to get into it.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think you made some very key points there, Mr. Charan. Today, it's become like, transformation is like, you have some softwares, you implement some softwares, but that's not the whole thing. You need to basically look at it from the business side of it. You need to look at from what are the jobs to be done for that business, and then you drill down to actually the need of the software or technologies that you need. So that's
Absolutely.
where that's where you consultants really come in, and that's what makes the independent consultant, and that's what has motivated you, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's the value we create.
Absolutely. So moving on, what do you think is also the future of independent consulting? What would be your advice to people who are pursuing it, Charan?
Okay. So independent consulting, right? It is something which opens up. Today we can find a person who is an expert in content management,
Right.
right? Then there are hundreds of companies who lack the skill. Lot many things companies are going to digital transformation, but it doesn't make sense for them to go for a full-time content manager or a content creator who manages their campaigns,
Right.
right? So world is moving to gig economy, and digital transformation is not isolated. Digital transformation requires a separate set of expertise. It's a combination of different expertise combined into a one platform of
Right.
execution, right? And that is where the independent consultants will come. So independent consultants, there are a lot of opportunities to really look into out to display their passion, to display their expertise into one or multiple fields which they are exposed. This will
Absolutely.
this will not only help in focusing on on what their heart is,
Right.
right? And it
Right.
will also help them in connecting to different industry segments. For example, just look at the content management. It is not only just for a manufacturer. It can be hospitals. It may be a pharma. It can be a retail. It can be anyone, right? So this gives you an exposure to a transcend of different kinds of industries, different kinds of personalities, and all other things. The world is yours. Go and capture it.
Right. So as you rightly nailed it there, Charan, because tomorrow the world is going to be wherein companies don't need probably full-time expertise on various skills. So at that point of time, you would need some specific skills for a certain period of time, and that's where
Yeah.
consultants come in. They finish the job and they move on. And with respect to consultants as well, they get an opportunity to work with across various industries. So
Yeah.
for them also there's a huge amount of opportunities that lie, and that's what makes independent consulting as a favored
Absolutely.
pattern is going forward. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
Perfect. Finally, Charan, just one last question, in terms of what is the message in terms of the value proposition you can give to your target customers?
Okay.
With respect to your skill sets or with respect to your, experience, what is that you would like to give as a value proposition to your target customers?
Yeah. So digital transformations are tough, complex, and time consuming. When I say time consuming, the journey is long. It is not something that you do something and 2 months everything has changed. No.
True.
It is cyclic, iterative, painful, and long. The change is culturally, the change is from a technology perspective, how you behave the customers, how the things are.
Right.
From my side, the value which I usually create is that I understand the vision, that I capture it,
right.
Look into the complete business model, and come out with a digital strategy. When we say digital strategy, digital transformation is what we do 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now. Right. Just because we want to implement a CRM, let's go and buy something. No. But what is it mapped to 5 years from now?
Right.
Just we want to buy a CRM. It doesn't support API, which means that it doesn't make sense for us to longer digital transformation. Okay, so it's the right kind of things from a transparency perspective, from a value creation perspective, the right kind of things that we do it from 3 to 5 years from now. That is the thing that we are going to do it up. And second thing is when we store it up, right? It is not just that I step into the shoes for a 2-month engagement or a 3-month engagement, suggest something and move out. No, it's usually a journey. It's a long-term journey where I help them in execution. There may obviously, when we do it up a large transformation, there will be pain points, there will be mistakes that have been done, and there are a lot of learning that have to be done. So these sort of learnings, mistakes, and everything will be plowed back into the process, because ultimately what happens is that it is the staff who are going to do it up.
Right.
Right. You have a line of staff that is going to do it up. If you look at the business process transformation that happens, we may have all the process that is there, but most of the companies doesn't have a process. They have a predictive behavior.
True.
Which means that people behave in that way and assume that it's the process. But today, the sort of innovations that is coming it up, it is obviously this business process has to be cleared up. Today, there is nothing like a single designation. The designations which have earlier today have been changed. We have a digital marketing manager today. Right. Today we have customer profitability managers at some point of time.
That's true.
Right. So customer profitability managers they look into sales, they look into customer service, they look into realizations.
Right.
So it transcends the boundaries. So right. I help in innovating the companies transcend beyond the traditional business model, traditional responsibilities, and look into an alternative and different ways so that they can actually go and explore their growth.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, thank you so much, Charan, for sharing, your thoughts, in terms of how the companies should basically prepare themselves, as well as, how does the future of independent consulting look down as we look into the future, and also sharing your value proposition to your customers. So thank you so much for this session, Mr. Charan, and thanks everybody. So we will see you on the other side with another expert from the next week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. Bye.